Hi everyone, I'm Stephen Garvey, founder leader of National Citizens Alliance. We have a slight programming change tonight. Roger Walker had some technical difficulties, so we're going to have him on later this week or next week, and we'll go into the banking system in Canada, the fake currency, the Bank of Canada, and what's going on that and how it's impacting you and your family. But today I'm going to just discuss briefly a post we made today. Please listen up closely. On July 13th, 2018, Canada signed on to the UN Migration Pact. This UN Migration Pact is everything that is going on in Canada in terms of this globalist agenda: open borders, extreme multiculturalism, foreign outflow of money, global world order. It's an unbelievable document, and I'm going to highlight 9 points from this. Every Canadian needs to be aware of this pact, which the federal government signed, and the so-called official opposition did not say a peep. And the Canadian media gave it very scant, vague coverage. So we're going to inform you about this pact, which we are obligated to. It's not legally binding, but everything the federal government is doing correlates to the UN Migration Pact. It is very disturbing. And just to summarize, this UN Migration Pact, it's not only encouraging open borders, but global control of borders. Global control of our borders. It's an erosion of our sovereignty, this UN Migration Pact. Also, it's doing another thing. It's actually giving basically the same rights and freedoms to migrants as if they were Canadian citizens. So basically creating the global citizen. This is our worst nightmare, and I'm going to highlight the main points from the UN Migration Act. There is a link on our Facebook page, so I encourage people to go on there, National Citizens Alliance, and look at the document yourself. There's a lot of lingo language in there, but we narrowed down 9 key points that we're going to touch on that are very disturbing. And this UN Migration Pact pretty much summarizes what's happening to our country. So the first point I want to refer to, it says, quote, refugees, migrants are entitled to the same universal human rights and fundamental freedoms as Canadian citizens, basically. So basically what they're saying is refugees, migrants have Canadian rights and freedoms as soon as they enter Canada. This is already happening because of the Canadian Charter, the Globalist Socialist Charter, and this UN Migration Pact only doubles down on that, saying that refugees, migrants, quote, have the same universal human rights and freedoms. So then this builds to point number 2. This global compact is rooted in, quote, 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And this is Agenda 2030 is an extension of Agenda 21. And this is a socialist Marxist global doctrine that seeks to stamp down any form of nationalism, and it supports open borders and global world order. This isn't made up, everyone. If you go to the federal government website, they actually say that the federal government fully endorses Agenda 2030. So, and so this UN Migration Pact is consistent with that. Further, point number 3, I want to emphasize, it says, quote, ensure effective respect, protection, fulfillment of human rights of all migrants, regardless of their migration status, across all stages of migration cycle. Again, and then it goes on to say, we also reaffirm the commitment to eliminate all forms of discrimination including racism, xenophobia, and intolerance against migrants and their families. Again, it's doubling down on the rights and freedoms of these migrants that are comparable to the rights and freedoms of our Canadian citizens. And it says here that it will eliminate any form of criticism against migration, immigration. This is very concerning, everyone. We can see how National Citizens Alliance is treated in the establishment media. We support responsible, balanced immigration, yet we are painted as racist, anti-immigrant, etc., etc. And this is consistent with this UN Migration Pact. And basically what the pact wants to do is create global citizens. Not Canadian citizens, but global citizens. It's very disturbing, everyone. Point number 4, it says we commit to manage our national borders in a coordinated manner, promoting bilateral, regional cooperation, etc., etc. So basically, this is not only open borders, but globalist control of our borders. It's an erosion of our sovereignty, everyone. This is global world order. Point number 5, it says, quote, incorporate the health needs of migrants in national, local health care policies and plans, such as by strengthening capacities for service provision, facilitating affordable, non-discriminatory access, reducing communication barriers, training healthcare providers on culturally sensitive service delivery in order to promote physical, mental health of migrants. Again, basically, this is what it's saying, that migrants coming into Canada, legal, illegal, should have access to our healthcare systems, our welfare systems, our social services. And we see this going on today. And this UN Migration Pact double downs on it. And Canada has committed to providing full access to our healthcare, social services, etc., to migrants entering Canada. Meanwhile, Canadian citizens, many of them are struggling, living in poverty. Our veterans are on the streets. Over close to 700,000 seniors live or near poverty. This is all wrong, everyone. And then the point number 6, it says, quote, promote mutual respect for cultures, traditions, customs of communities of destination of migrants by exchanging and implementing best practices on integration policies, programs, activities, including on ways to promote acceptance of diversity and facilitate social cohesion and inclusion. Again, this is very concerning. This is, in layman's terms, this is cultural relativity. It's basically saying all cultures are equal. And you can see the government is pushing diversity on it. And they also have all their lingo, language, diversity is strength. They're pushing multiculturalism on us. And this UN Migration Pact is doubling down on that, basically saying all cultures are equal, and we should have respect for all cultures, all traditions, all customs. And that's ridiculous, everyone. The National Citizens Alliance believe in cultural sanctity. We have to protect Canada's culture, our identity, our heritage, or we're going to lose it. This cultural relativism will destroy Canada as we have grown to love. And this is what the pact is promoting. Point number 7, support multicultural activities through sports, music, arts, culinary festivals, volunteering, and social events that will facilitate mutual understanding and appreciation of migrant cultures and those of destination communities. Again, this is about actually the government promoting and enhancing foreign cultures in Canada. And this is outlined and established legislatively in the 1988 Canadian Multiculturalism Act, which mandates the federal government to promote enhance foreign cultures in Canada. Again, this will encourage the replacement of Canadian traditional culture with a globalist culture, and this is something at National Citizens Alliance we oppose. We're not against foreign cultures, but this is our homeland. This is our Canadian culture, and people should come here. They should integrate into our cultural norms. We shouldn't be allowing people in here and then encouraging them to expand their culture in Canada and actually use our tax dollars to do it like the federal government is doing. This is all wrong, everyone. If we don't stand up for who we are, our way of life, our cultural identity, we're going to lose it. And number 8 here, it says, this is very disturbing, everyone. Number 8, this is on controlling the media discourse in relation to migrants, immigration. And it says, quote, promote independent, objective, quality reporting of media outlets, including internet-based information, including sensitizing and educating media professionals on migration-related issues and terminology, investing in ethical reporting standards and advertising, and stopping allocation of public funding and material support to media outlets that systematically promote intolerance, xenophobia, racism, and other forms of discrimination towards migrants. So there you go, everyone. It wants to control the media. Federal money will go to media companies that are pro-federal government immigration, migration policy. Anyone who's critical of immigration, or like NCA wants responsible, balanced immigration, we will be attacked, as we are. This is all wrong, everyone. They also want to program, indoctrinate media, independent media, with this agenda. So this is about control and pushing their agenda. It's not about free press, everyone. That's very disturbing. And finally, point number 9, it says they want to harmonize travel documents in line with the specifications of International Civil Aviation Organization to facilitate interoperable and universal recognition of travel documents. This is very concerning. Again, this is erosion of our sovereignty. And it's about creating a one world passport. A one world passport. Unbelievable. And this is what the federal government signed on to, everyone. And this is pretty sums up everything that's happening to our country. The Canadian people were never consented on the federal government signing on to the UN Migration Pact. And as mentioned, the so-called opposition in Ottawa did not say a peep about this. This is very concerning, everyone. And please share this message today. Every Canadian needs to know what's going on with our country. This UN Migration Pact is pure globalism. And the National Citizens Alliance stands fully in opposition. We want to pull back the immigration into Canada. We want a temporary pause. There's an 11-year backlog. We want substantial reduction in immigration to 50,000 or less. You know, immigrants should be coming to Canada because it's in the best interest of our people. In addition, they should be coming here as a privilege, not a right. And another thing we want to do is provide incentives to increase the size of traditional families in Canada. So we would do that through taxation. We should be trying to not replace Euro-Canadians, but encourage the thriving of Euro-Canadians in Canada who founded and created our country. And I'm referring to Anglophones, Francophones, First Nations. These are the primary founding people of our country, and they need to be protected and enhanced, and that's something that National Citizens Alliance will do. So I encourage people to go look up the UN Migration Pact, look through the lingo. There's a lot of lingo in there, but these 9 points are pretty much summarize what's going on in our country, and we stand fully opposed. So please share this message, and the National Citizens Alliance relies on donations. We want to get our message out further to the Canadian people. The establishment media vilifies us. They only cover us when they are attacking us. So we encourage the Canadian people to donate to us so we can spread our message to other Canadians to join us. And please become a paid member. And also consider running in 2019. And we will be doing some videos on how to become a paid member, and also what are the steps to running in 2019. The bottom line is we want to drain and replace the entrenched globalist politicians in Ottawa. They all need to be drained out. The National Citizens Alliance, we are made up of non-career, non-establishment, pro-Canadians. That's who the National Citizens Alliance is. So I want to wish everyone a good night. Please share this message, and thank you for listening in.